Welcome, everyone. Just going to introduce myself. If I've met some of you, I maybe know more faces than names, but I'm Tara, and I used to be the PDP for Explore for the last 2 years, but with the resignation of the former Challenge PDP, that is now the position that I have. And I would like to thank Synthol for stepping in to help do this training with the government shutdown that's been going on. We had to make a few changes, so bear with us. And we are recording this. We have a few hosts that reached out to me that said they haven't assigned some of their roles yet. And so they weren't able to get the information out to their judge advisors and judges. So with this being recorded, I'll be able to provide those resources when those roles are filled. And I'll hand it over to you, Senthil. Thank you so much for doing this.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys. Again, I will give a safe harbor statement before I begin anything. Again, I am by no means an expert in everything, but this is an amalgamation of various presentations and various inputs from folks like John and Brenda and others that I have put together this presentation. Again, if there's anything that does not jive well, please do let us know so that we can correct them and make sure that we have the revised version of the file floated to everybody. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me know if you guys are able to see my screen. I think I need to swap it, hopefully. Except I need to know how to swap it. Okay. Hopefully you guys are seeing the right presentation.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. Again, what we're trying to do today is really do a little brief introduction. I don't know if with the size of the group that we have, if we will have time to introduce everyone, but at least I'll try to introduce myself. And then basically this training is going to be broken down into what we need to do as judges, as judge advisors, as a planning for the event, and then during the event and what we expect to do after the event. Again, the main objective of this exercise is to get as consistent as possible across the state so that we are all judging in the same way or have the same kind of grounding. Again, there's always going to be some kind of nuances to judging. It's very subjective, but if we have the guidelines, we can hopefully all have the same grounding and do a better job. And again, I will try to share all the resources that's available to judges and judge advisors. Actually, the FIRST has done an excellent job this year of collating all the documents into one cohesive unit. I don't know if how many of you have gone into the training modules in the FIRST Inspire site, but they've done a tremendous job this year to get everything in one place. You no longer have to go looking, oh, where is that judging rubric, or where is that um, question bank or anything. It's all put together in one training module. I highly recommend everyone go through that and take a look at it. I'll try to touch upon those briefly, but there's a ton of information. There's some really useful videos. There was one video where they were doing a mock judging to see how different judges rate teams and how they rank it. That was very interesting. I highly recommend going and watching that. It definitely tells you what kind of a judge you are and what really resonates with you. So definitely take a look at that. And again, just to help everyone throughout the season, again, Tara has been very, very responsive, and she's really, anytime I have had a question, she's got back to me within like an hour or so. So thank you, Tara, for that. It's great to have that dialogue going. So on that note, again, we will try to keep this training to less than 1.5 hours. I don't know if we will be able to do it, but again, I don't want to cut it short just because we want to keep it to 1.5 hours. If we have up to 2 hours, we will try to keep the presentation part as quickly as possible and open it up for any questions that you guys may have. I'll try my best to answer. We do have some veteran judges in the group I can see already. I'm sure collectively we should be able to answer any questions anybody has. On that note, I'll just start by just introducing myself. Again, my name is Senthil Raghupati. I am a parent volunteer. I got sucked into robotics about 9 years ago when my son was a fourth grader, and he was like, "Hey, I want to join this program in school." And the school said, "There's nobody to run it." And I was foolish enough to say, "Yeah, I think I can do this." And here I am 9 years later, still doing it. And actually, I'm actually lying when I say that I was foolish. I really love the program. And actually, my kids are uh, really out of FLL now, but I continue to do it because I really like the program and I, I enjoy doing this. So I've done it for 9 years. I actually have coached both FLL and FTC. Um, I had the good fortune of taking FLL and FTC teams to Worlds. That's a great experience, and I'm hoping we'll be able to go there again. And I've really judged for many, many years now. And I had the good fortune of also being a Ohio representative judge at Worlds for a couple of years now. I think I've done it for 4 years. So that's a little bit about myself. Did anyone have any questions or anything that we want to address before getting started on the meat of things? Okay. Again, most of us should already know this. If not, we must have been living under the rock. Uh, Pun intended there. The season is called Unearthed. Again, the challenge this year is to come up with a innovative solution to the problem that archaeologists face. And the FLL, I mean, the whole season is called Age, and the FLL challenge season is called Unearthed. So that's what our season 4 challenge is about. Again, before getting started, core values are the bedrock of everything that FIRST does. And again, we as judges, judge advisors, we are the ambassadors of FIRST, and it is expected from us that we exhibit these core values in all our interactions, in all our communication, everyone that we touch upon. These core values are what drives FIRST, and so we should be exhibiting these in all our interactions. Again, in FIRST Lego League, robot design and innovation project are essentially what we are doing, what the teams are doing, and core values really represent how we go about doing it. So as judges, please make sure that we are emphasizing the friendly sportsmanship, respecting the contributions of each other, making sure that we are role models as volunteers and demonstrating this at all times. So keep this in mind in all our interactions. Okay, as a judge advisor, I know we kind of combine these both, judge advisor and judge training. So as a judge advisor, you're really responsible for overseeing the judging process. Essentially, you are a facilitator. You're not really judging the teams yourself. That's one of the sad parts of being a judge advisor. You don't get to meet the teams directly, but you are kind of orchestrating things in the background. You are a facilitator, and you are making sure that the judging process works smoothly. As a judge, you are really the face of FIRST to many of the teams. You are the ones that are responsible for meeting the teams. You get to listen to all the fun stuff the teams share. And sometimes they also share some goodies with you, so you get to keep those as judges. Uh, while if you're accepting goodies, you're expected to accept goodies from everybody. If you're not accepting it, you should not accept from anybody. That's something that you want to keep in mind. But essentially, you are responsible for evaluating the teams. You are going to be responsible for filling up the rubric. Uh, Again, you're never doing this as a individual. You're doing it in a pod. A pod is ideally 3 members. In many instances, you will be having just two. But keep in mind, you are never meeting any team alone. You are never judging anybody in a one-on-one type of a situation. So again, as a judge, you are really positioned to be in a lot of different things to a lot of different teams. I have seen many instances where, I mean, starting from greeting the team into the judging room, all the way to asking, listening to their presentations, asking them meaningful questions, sometimes consoling the team, sometimes kind of bringing back the team to the topic. Again, veteran judges can tell you all kinds of stories that happen within the judging, but your role primarily is to reassure the students. Again, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, sometimes literally, that goes into these teams. As a coach, I can tell you there are many at times, many students that have shed tears and have had a few bruises. So our job is to really encourage the students. We need to give them constructive feedback, but at the same time, it should be in a way that the students feel they are appreciated for the accomplishments that they have done through the season. There's a lot of work that goes into the season, so you will be a supportive mentor. You're still judging them based on the rubric, but you are always a supportive member, and you're always thanking them and appreciating them for the work that they have done. Our job is not to nitpick what they have come up with. Our job is really to evaluate based on the criteria where in the rubric the team sits, and judging based on that. Any questions so far? Okay. Again, a little more detail. You are conducting the team interviews. Sometimes we may be going and making some pit interviews. I have not seen this happening in the qualifier or the regionals, but I've seen this happening more and more at the state level. And if you happen to judge at the Worlds, we definitely make it a point to go and meet some of the teams in the pits to have ask more questions, or just to get an evaluation of the teams better. Our job is also to update the rubric. The judges are also responsible for filling up the feedback form. We'll go a little more detail on what feedback form really is and what is expected from the judges in terms of what needs to go into that. Uh, Watching the competition matches, I will tell you, I'll be very honest, it is hard to really go and watch matches, especially if you have a larger tournament. You are pressed for times many a times. Uh, but if it is possible, you should really make a visit to look at the competition watch a couple competition matches. It does help understand the teams a little better. And then as judges, you're also responsible for nominating the teams for all the core awards, but also for all the optional awards. Many a times, at least in my experience, I've noticed we do a good job of evaluating them on the rubric, but as a judge or a judging pod, we forget to nominate them for some of these optional awards like the breakthrough or the motivate. And again, those things, when you go back to the deliberation room, you are like, oh, I think that was a good candidate. And while there's no stopping you from nominating, it does help to nominate them as you're judging it. so that it's a little easier and clearer when it comes to the deliberation. And again, as a judging group, you are responsible to come to a consensus on the awards and who the recipients are. Again, this year they have made some improvements to the JAA and the event hub. In the past, there's been little challenges getting the rubrics into the JAA or the Excel spreadsheet or event hub. They have done quite a few changes this year. I'm hoping it'll be a lot more seamless this year. It looks a lot more easier to get everything in. And the spreadsheet looks really clean. There are no more Excel macros that you need to worry about when you add a line, something goes wacky. They'll try to address all of those concerns. So hopefully it'll be a more streamlined process when it comes to deliberating and nominating the teams and getting those rankings. Again, the final thing that you end up doing in a day is really creating award scripts for the team. Usually, you can write scripts in any different ways. Generally, I've seen more. There's some pun. There's some little hinting. 3 to 4 sentences, revealing the team a little more with each sentence, with fourth sentence really revealing the team and the award. But again, this is all stuff that you guys can add your own flair to and your own mark on how you want to recognize teams. The key important thing is this has to be a positive judging experience, and this is basically for recognizing all the participants for their efforts and hopefully inspiring them to do better things in future. So, again, just to boil it down to one slide, a judge is expected to demonstrate gracious professionalism. That's exhibiting all the core values and all of that. And then judges are validating the efforts of the students. Again, sometimes we have to ask probing questions to draw out those stories because not everybody's ready to share all their stories off the top. So sometimes you might have to ask them some questions to draw out that information. And then judges will also have to wrestle with the subjectiveness. Again, unfortunately, this is a pretty subjective part of the competition. No two judges judge this same way. There's always nuances that vary from judge to judge. Again, as we judge, we are accepting the challenge of ranking the teams and their effort. So we just have to do our best effort to do a fair job of all of that. Again, just another key reminder, we do not interview teams or make decisions as an individual. It's always in groups of 2 or more. Please make sure that you're not really having one-on-one conversations with the students. It's to protect both the judges and the students in any kind of. Okay. Any questions so far on the roles of a judge advisor, Joe, judge, anything so far? Okay, how are we doing on time? Okay. Okay. The time commitment from a judge advisor for pre-event is really 8 to 12 hours. Again, you're completing all the judge advisor training. Judge advisors help in assisting and recruiting the judges for your event. You're also working with the tournament director, event director to plan the logistics and schedules and coming up with all the orientation, judge orientation presentations and things like that. I would strongly recommend having a judge orientation meeting prior to the event. While you can have the judge orientation early on the event day, it's definitely much easier to have it prior so that everybody is calibrated and everybody knows what's expected from the judges prior to the event. While I understand it may not happen all the time, if you can do it, I would recommend getting that done. One of the key things also is getting the judges to complete their training and possibly collecting all the conflict of interest ahead of time. While I understand conflict of interest, sometimes you're not aware of it until you go to the competition and then you see a team and you're like, oh, that's a team that I've worked with or that I have really helped them with their presentation or I've helped judge them, or you know members of the team pretty intimately. So, but try to get the judges training completed ahead of time and get the conflict of interest, if possible, completed ahead of time. From a judge's perspective, it's really about 2 hours of commitment for the pre-event. You're expected to complete the training, which takes roughly about 1.5 hours to go from end to end. And then you are also attending the judge orientation if it is held before. So those are the 2 things that is expected from a judge from a pre-event perspective as the days before the competition. Any questions? Okay. I was talking a little bit about the training. So this year they have done a really nice job of getting everything in one page. But essentially, when you log into First Inspires, you can click on this first training link, and it'll show you all the training that's available to you. Uh, Keep in mind, some of them are role specific, so it may not show up by default. But if you are assigned a judge to a event, it should, you can also look at this roles missing certification. That will show you all the certifications or trainings that is expected of you to complete. So you could just say, like, if I click on this missing role, it says that, oh, I've been assigned as a judge advisor, and I can review the outstanding tasks that I need to complete as a judge advisor. And it should be able to show you all the training that you need to complete. So there's like a judge advisor training, there's a head ref training, judges training, ref training. There's I think 17 different training resources for the first Lego League. Depending on the roles that you are playing, you should be really going through all of those. And again, if time permits, we will go into the website and play around that a little bit. The judge training, it is very streamlined this year. It's basically, it goes in a flow. There's some videos, and then it shows you the resources that are attached with it. And you can either download those resources or just read it online. It is very streamlined. Again, I did post the link here. It's training.firstinspires.org learn dashboard. From there, you can see all the training that you can take from the First Inspires website. One of the things that you, as judge advisors and judges, need to look for is how do you get your room set up. Again, there's no one size fits all, but ideally it should be a classroom or something similar to a classroom. I remember one year we were judging, I think it was in Dayton, where it was in the Air Force Museum. It's a great, cool place to have the judging, but it's a little hard to listen, especially when it's an open space and there's PA announcements going through the system. But ideal would be a classroom or something similar to a classroom. At least having 2 tables, one for the judges to use and one for the teams to use, so that the teams are not expected to hold their robot and all the presentation on their in their hands, and 2 or 3 chairs for the judges, and 2 chairs for the coach, parent, volunteers who want to sit in. And the way we position the chairs for the coaches is it's really away from any of the judging area where they cannot really influence the team or influence, I mean, or they can read what the judges are writing or saying. So they should be able to, we should be in a place, the chairs should be arranged in a place where they are kind of in an isolated spot. Again, judges, coaches, and parents are not allowed to speak or not allowed to answer any questions on behalf of the team. That actually could work detrimental to the team. Uh, Actually, there was somebody in the Ohio judging that once said, as a coach or a parent, there's no way you can help the team, but you can definitely hurt the team. So make sure that the parents, coaches are not interfering with the judges. Uh, Again, from the from electronics and making sure they have projector or power outlet, none of those are a guarantee. Uh, it is expected of the teams to bring any and all presentation material that they want. Some can bring trifolds, they can bring, I mean, they're allowed to do all kinds of presentation. They can do a skit, they could do a very regimented, here's our define process, here's our identify, here's our development. They could go that way or have a very free flow. They perform a skit. The key aspect is they try to address all the aspects of the rubrics. Again, all the teams are, or at least they should be aware of the rubrics and they should know what is expected from them. But as a tournament judge advisor or a judge or event coordinator, we are not expected to provide them any kind of presentation devices. Some teams do roll in with a cart with a monitor, with a battery backup, and they can do a projector from there or show it on the monitor. All that is fine, except that the team needs to provide all of those. Any questions? Okay. So coordinate as a judge. This is more specific to the judge advisor, coordinating with the event director, because the judge advisor is always working with the event director or the tournament director. Again, there's some subtle differences as to what the tournament director or event director does and what the judge advisor does. Again, the event director is really responsible for setting up the rooms, making sure that all the communication to the teams, the team information packet, the volunteer information packets, all of those are getting communicated. The event director also determines how many awards will be given, what the overall schedule of the tournament is going to look like, and things like that. And they are generally the liaison with pretty much all the other parties. They generally run, make sure that they're coordinating with the volunteers, making sure that things are running smooth for the event, all that. As a judge advisor, you're really responsible more for the judging aspect of the tournament. You're making sure that the room setups are pretty good, making sure that your judging queuing process is aligned, making sure that the interviews are running on schedule, making sure that the judges have whatever they need, like, I mean, whether it's running water to them or papers, pencils, stationery, things like that, whatever the judges need, it really falls on the judge advisor to make sure that is available. Again, training the judges, that's one of the key responsibilities. Making sure that we collect any conflict of interest, making sure that everything is ticked and tied in terms of the judging process. So judge advisor is more for the judging side of things, and the event director is overall schedule and overall tournament. Any questions on that? Okay, this is from my experience being a judge advisor in the last couple of years. Communication is key. I mean, I don't know how much I can emphasize on communication, but communicate early, communicate often, make sure that the required trainings are completed by all the judge advisors. Even as veteran judges, sometimes some of the nuances get changed from year to year. It's always good to go through the training and make sure that you are aligned with the rubrics for the season, making sure that you are trained for the season. And then again, volunteer coordinators can really view the status. My recommendation is I would also say, as a judge advisor, get access to the VMS system. Tara and others can add you to the VMS if required as judge advisors. It helps you know who has completed the training and who you have to really chase down to make sure that they're completing the training. So if you have access to VMS, that's the volunteer management system. It makes it a little easier, but if you don't have access to the VMS, at least talk to your volunteer coordinator. They can tell you who are all the ones that have completed the training, who are the ones that you need to really follow up with. Again, this is more for the judge advisors, not so much for the judges. As a judge, if you guys can get the training done, I'm sure you will not get nagged by the judge advisor saying that, hey, can you please complete the training? So again, hold judge orientation before the tournament day. That is something that I highly recommend because a lot of times on the tournament day, not everybody is in at 7 o'clock to get the day started with all the uh, Q&A and all the training that's needed. If you can hold the orientation a day prior or 2 days prior, it really helps run the tournament day a lot smoother. And again, this is one thing that I have tried to ask because not everybody likes to judge project, not everybody likes to judge robot design or core values. Again, keep in mind now the core values is kind of embedded within the project and robot design. But if some judges have preferences, it helps you as you're forming the pods. You don't want two robot design judges in a pod and two project interested judges in another pod. You want to mix and match. So if you can get their preferences ahead of time, it helps to form the right pod. You always are striving to add a experienced judge with a more younger judge or a more newer judge, trying to pair up a project judge with a robot judge so that we are able to cover all aspects of judging effectively. So getting that information ahead of time helps. Again, send 3 weeks in advance your emails to your judges, making sure that they are knowing what they need to, if they have any missing certifications, make sure that they have all the judging manuals, include the game overview, because not all judges know the game. Sorry, was there a question? I guess not. Okay. Again, 3 weeks in advance, I start communicating. I know a lot of events. It's hard to start planning 3 weeks ahead with judges, but the earlier you get started, the better it is. And as judges, please make sure that you arrive on time at the location for the tournament. It helps to get the day started right when everybody's there on time and you can start judging on time. I just wanted to emphasize this one this year. This year, actually, they are being a little bit more explicit about this. As judge advisors, if you are sending any communication to your judges your volunteers or others, please mark them as a BCC. So any PII information does not get decimated unintentionally. Make sure that it is a BCC. Again, one-on-one conversations is fine to mark it as a 2. But anytime there's PII information, and emails are considered PII information, make sure that you always mark it as a BCC. Okay. Any questions preparing to the tournament so far? How are we doing on time? 6:30. I think we should be good. No questions. Tournament day, the big day. Again, on the tournament day, again, everybody, judge advisors, judges, expectation is about 10 to 12 hours, depending on the size of the tournament. If your tournament is smaller, you may end a little early. Most tournaments run from like judges are expected around 7 in the morning, and about 3 or 4 is when you're done with all the deliberation and awards. The awards usually is done around 5-ish. So plan for a 10 to 12 hour day. So it's quite a commitment for that day, but I know we have a lot of dedicated volunteers, so we should be good there. From an attire perspective, again, wear anything that's comfortable. Again, most tournaments, a volunteer t-shirt is provided. And again, silly hats, anything to make the environment more fun for the students is encouraged. Silly hats are a great way to break the ice with the teams. I have always worn a sombrero or a Viking hat, and it definitely breaks the ice for sure. Again, if teams are presenting swag, as judges, you are allowed to accept them. The only caveat that you should be accepting, if you're accepting, you should accept from everybody. And if you're not accepting, you should not accept from anybody. So that's the only caveat there. And making sure that training and all the certifications are done prior to that. Okay, we spoke a little bit about conflict of interest. Again, this is a volunteer-led, volunteer-run tournament for the most part. And chances are a lot of your judges are going to be parents or adults that know the team, that are working with the team, or have some affiliations with the team. So you are not going to be able to find a complete set of judges that don't have any affiliation, which is fine. All we need to make sure is the conflict of interest is very clearly identified. As judges, make sure that if you have a conflict of interest with any team, identify that to your judge advisor so that the judge advisor knows not to put you in that part where you have the conflict of interest. And again, if there is a conflict of interest for any award deliberation where you have a conflict of interest, just step away. Do not speak to for the team or against this team. Just kind of excuse yourself from that deliberation so that the judging is not influenced in any way. And again, we got to be fair. It's based on the information that is provided to you by the team, the tournament, based on the information that's available to you at that tournament. You are not going to be judging them based on prior engagements that you might have seen them or know about the team. Personal opinions are not really how the team's performance should be measured. It should be based on the rubric, and we are evaluating to the rubric. Make sure that the integrity of the awards are preserved and protected. We don't want to, again, even perceived conflict of interest should be really avoided. And again, refrain from commenting upon the team that you are affiliated or you know about, and abstain from any voting for that team if there is a voting for that. Again, for the most part, these are very self-explanatory, but sometimes the gray area is if you have an alum from a team that is now a judge or is knowing the team from the past, it's hard to know whether there's a conflict or not. So just be upfront about it and let the judge advisor know, and the judge advisor can take the call as to how they want to assign that judge. And again, the helplines are always open. They can reach to the PDP. Tara can help resolve any kind of situation that is not clear. She can get answers, or there's also a 1-800 line that you can reach out to. I don't have that number handy, but I'm sure Tara can get that for us if required. Okay, team interaction and support. This is actually not from this year, but something that I have liked from the past. It's called the ABCs of managing team behavior, because not everybody adheres by the gracious professionalism, the core values. When somebody is not exhibiting those values, what do you do? So it's the ABC. It's ask for an adult. If there is a student that is not adhering to the gracious professionalism or is not showing the core values, do not confront the team member one-on-one. Make sure that you are getting an adult that the coach or the mentor or parents of that team along with the student. You're never having a one-on-one conversation. Make sure that there is an adult present, and when you are talking to the student about that, again, we should also, the next part of that is the being aware of the environment. Make sure that the feedback is given in an environment which is conducive for feedback. You do not want to be talking to the student in front of everybody else, in front of their pits, where there's all the others watching. That's never a right environment for it. If you need to talk to a student or a team, make sure that it is in a place that is appropriate where you can have that conversation. And the C of it is the clear explanation. Again, explain the concern that you have for the team and offer examples of what is the expected behavior, and so that there's no confusion on what is the expectation. It's very rare that you need to do this especially at the Lego League level, but I've felt that this is always good for knowing that how do you deal with something that does not go well. You may have some students that are moving around chairs, or if they're in a school environment and they are moving around chairs or doing things that they shouldn't be, make sure that you are addressing that in an appropriate way. Any questions, concerns on this? Okay. Okay. On the tournament day, judge advisors, make sure that the setup for all the rooms are ready. It connects to the projector. I've had instances where I've spent hours trying to figure out why the projector does not work, and while we are waiting for deliberation and we are trying to do technical troubleshooting, trying to figure out why the projector does not work. So try to make sure that any of the AV electronic stuff works for you prior to the event. That way you're not fighting last minute battles. Hopefully you don't have to introduce yourself to the head ref and event director on the day. Hopefully you have already met with them or you know them. But if you don't, make sure that you introduce. Again, you are working in coordination with the head ref and the event director, because the head ref actually is communicating with you about some of the behaviors or some of the things that they are noticing, positive and negative, uh, on the game field. And event director is coordinating with you in terms of timing and making sure that we are allocating for the right awards and things like that. And again, by the day of the tournament, hopefully you know the schedule. But I will tell you, his schedules tend to change. Some teams might need some accommodation, may need a different time. That happens. So make sure that you are coordinating and you are aware of any changes to the schedule so that you can accommodate that fairly well. From a judge's perspective, arrive on time, dressed appropriately. Make sure you're checking in with the volunteers, check in so that we know that you are here. Sometimes if you don't check in, we may be wondering where you are, and that might delay it. Again, once you check in, you are allowed to go to the volunteer lounge. I'm sure there's some snacks, there's some coffee and beverages. Uh, Feel free to enjoy those. And then, based on the schedule that was given to you, make sure you are in the deliberation room on time, and then complete any conflict of interest forms that you have so that the judge advisor knows to allocate your parts appropriately. Again, the morning, generally, the judge advisor has a meeting just to debrief the judges with the process, the schedule, if there's any key reminders, making sure you know what rooms you're in, what judging schedule you have. And again, if there's any conflicts, again, we'll need to discuss and manage those conflicts. So all that happens in the morning meeting. This is prior to going for judging. Again, from a judge's perspective, be on time, declare any conflict of interest. I think we have hit that point too many times now. Maybe I need to reduce that. Conflict of interest, again, as I mentioned, a conflict can be either real or perceived, but anything that can have a negative effect on the experience of the teams needs to be disclosed so that we don't have any conflicts. Some of the examples of conflicts: you are a coach or a mentor of a team that is doing that, is in the tournament, or a ref, could be a parent of a team member that is participating, could be a recent alum. That's the one that's a little bit challenging because you don't know how involved they are. And then if there's any sponsors or anybody that has a direct affiliation to the team, please disclose all of those. If there is conflict of interest, make sure that as a judge advisor, make sure that they are assigned to a different interview room or swap teams to a different room or assigned to a different panel or obtain a substitute judge for that. So just make sure that there's no conflict there. Again, as judges, be open. Make sure that you're not making any decisions on a team that you have an affiliation with, speaking for or against the team, and participating in any pit interviews. Again, that's more an FTC and FRC thing, but it could be applicable for FLL as well. Sorry, I'm breezing through some of these things because I think it's we have gone through this many times in the presentation. So coming to the judging session flow, typically it's a 30-minute schedule per team, broken down just like what is laid out here. The first 2 minutes are team welcome and introductions. A lot of teams will come in with a song or a dance routine to introduce the team. They're allowed to do however they want to introduce. Some teams don't do a team intro. They might jump into the project presentation immediately. But the first 2 minutes is what is allocated for the welcome. Even if the team is starting to do the project presentation immediately, they are still held to the 5-minute timeline. So if they don't do the introduction and they're jumping directly to the project, that does not mean that they get 7 minutes for the project. They still are held to the 5-minute time limit on the project. Generally, if the presentation is going beyond 5 minutes, at around 5 minutes and 20 or 30 seconds, one of the judges gently stops the team from presenting it so that we can get to the Q&A portion of it. I've seen some judges being a little more lenient, while others are pretty strict about the 5-minute and could get you cut off at 5 minutes. If you feel that the presentation can complete in the next 10 seconds, maybe give them the 10 seconds to complete it. But if it looks like they still have a lot more to do, gently intervening might be the best way to handle that. The next 5 minutes is really for Q&A on the project, on the innovation project, where you can ask questions that for areas that maybe you feel is a little deficient in their presentation and you need clarity. You can ask them questions to assess those questions or areas that may not clear. At the end of 5 minutes, you move on to the robot design presentation. Again, those presentation times are uninterrupted times. Teams can present for up to 5 minutes uninterrupted. And at the end of the robot design presentation, again, you get 5 minutes of Q&A to ask about the robot design, what their robot design, anything that is related to robot design that you feel you need to get a little more details on. That's the time to ask them. The last 8 minutes is really final sharing and feedback. A lot of times, teams may choose not to have any final thoughts that they want to share and may jump right into the Q&A portion. I would strongly recommend judges to ask if there's any specific areas that they need feedback on and make sure that you address those first, and then you can go on to the general feedback about all the good things and all the areas of improvement that they can work on. Use the sandwich method when you're giving feedback. Make sure that you start with the positive, add the constructive feedback, and then finish off with the positive again, so that the team feels accomplished leaving the room. No matter how accomplished you think the team is or how basic the team is, there's always good things about every team. There's always good things that can be shared with every team. And there's always some improvement that every team can do. Even champion teams that are well-versed, there's always things that they can improve. So make sure that you are sandwiching your feedback, and it should always be encouraging. We don't want any team walking out of the judging room in tears that something went horrible for them. Make sure that they're always feeling recognized and feel accomplished leaving the room, that they had a great season. Generally, you have about 10 minutes between teams. So like 30 minutes with the teams, then you have 10 minutes to discuss as a judging part any of the rubrics that you want to discuss, and then filling out the rubric. Those happen in the 10 minutes. Sometimes it can feel pretty tight with 10 minutes, especially if you're deliberating as a part on whether it's a 3 or a 2 or a 4. It can feel tight. Try to get the rubrics filled in at the same time as much as possible. But if it's not possible, generally in the schedule, after a couple of judging sessions, you will have a break where you can catch up on some of this before the next set of teams come. That's something that you need to work with the judge advisor and the tournament director to make sure that the judging schedule is aligned for the number of teams that you're going to be uh, judging. Most judging lanes are expected to judge about anywhere between 4 and 6 teams. I don't think I have never seen anybody who has to judge more than 6 teams in a day. I mean, when you go to the Worlds, it does get split. So you might see them on 2 days, and you might see 6 and 6. But I have not seen anywhere where you have to judge more than 6 teams. Any questions on the judging flow? Okay. Again, as judges, we are really judging on 4 aspects. Again, robot design, robot game, innovation project. Those are all pretty visible, pretty upfront. You know, and you can see it. The core values is not so visible. I mean, it's visible. It's just not. It's not physically. You can see a robot or a prototype of the innovation project. It's really how they went about the season. The top 3 are really what they did in the season. The core values is really how they went about the season. Again, one of the key things that I have always mentioned is maintain your sense of humor, because a lot of times these students are very stressed. Um, it's a it's a stressful day for the students, and anything that you can do to make their day a little better, it's always appreciated. Again, during the presentation, make sure that you're always uh, being present, listening carefully. I guess we have a question.
Yes, my name is Patty. First of all, I absolutely love your presentation. It's going great. Secondly, I've been a judge advisor for about 10 years, but I did not do the JA last year. So I'm kind of looking at what's changed since the last time I JA'd. And I'm wondering, is there still a core values rubric?
It's not a separate rubric. We will be addressing that a little later. It's kind of embedded in the innovation project and robot design. When we get to that, we will talk a little bit as to which ones are counting for the core values and which ones are just purely innovation project and robot design. But so
Thank
there's
you.
not, if you're a judge in the past, there was a core values presentation where the students were expected to present a core values uh, reflection. And there was a separate rubric where you would fill the core values. It's not the same anymore. I think they made the change 2 years ago where it's embedded with the innovation project and robot design presentation.
Great, thank you.
And the rubrics, Patty, they have a very definite icon that shows you which part of the rubric is for core values in addition to the other component.
So that'll be self-explanatory to put it on
On the rubric, yep.
We will look at it a little bit
He has
as
copies
well.
of it in the presentation, yep.
All right, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's good. Hey, it's good to have interaction rather than it's a one-way communication.
Thank you.
Yeah. Again, during the presentation, please make sure that you are listening carefully. Some of these students do speak softly, so if you're not listening carefully, you might miss some of the nuances of what they're saying. And maintain eye contact with the students. If they see you on the phone or not interested, it sends the wrong message to them that, hey, maybe you're just checking or typing something about the team. But if you're not maintaining the eye contact, the students may feel discouraged that, hey, the judges are not interested in what we're presenting. So always maintain eye contact. And again, make sure that the teams know that you are valuing what they are presenting. always treat the team's accomplishments with respect. Again, all it takes is one negative comment from one judge for them to have a bad experience, and we never want that. So we want every team walking out of the judging session feeling like they have accomplished what they set out for the season, and making them believe that they can do better the next time. Okay. Okay. This is more related to just the project. Again, the topic for this year is the teams have to identify a problem faced by the archaeologist and propose a solution that can help. Again, it's fairly a large topic, and teams can come with any solution. Our job is not to evaluate whether it's a feasible topic or not. We are really judging the process that they have gone through and how they have gone about justifying whatever the innovation that they are proposing. It can be a completely new innovation. It can be an improvement to an existing solution. It can be a better way of doing the same thing. It can be anything, as long as the teams are able to justify what their innovation is and how they went about the innovation. It is all well and fine. It just needs to address a problem that is faced by the archaeologist and improve their lives in some way. So that is the topic that we are looking for in the innovation project. Again, we kind of completed a lot of this ahead. This is 5 minutes presentation and 5 minutes Q&A. 5 minutes, they have uninterrupted time. They are going to be presenting all the things that they have done, all the experts they have spoken to, the improvements they have done, all the feedback that they have incorporated, all the great things that they've learned. They're presenting their season to you. And at the end of the presentation, you have 5 minutes to ask any questions. The Q&A time is really to plug any gaps that you may have on your rubric. They might have spoken about 3 of the rubric areas. Maybe they didn't cover much on the communication side, and you need to ask some questions on that. Make sure that you address those in the Q&A. Again, keep in mind, if it is not shared by them, and if you have not asked a question around that, you cannot assume that they did it. It is anything that is explicitly shared by the team is what should be driving your rubric. If a team looks like they're a very polished team, but they did not talk about the experts that they spoke to, when it comes to ranking them for the experts that they reached out to, you do not assume that, oh, their solution was so well put together, so I'm sure they've spoken to expert. We cannot make that assumption. It has to be explicitly called out either in the presentation or in your Q&A, where they talk about the experts that they spoke to, for you to rank them on the rubric. So we cannot assume anything. It's anything that's explicitly shared and discussed. Again, there are 5 different segments in the rubric. The top one being the identify. This is basically describing the problem that they were trying to solve and what resources that the team really used for research and what they found to be the most useful. That's from an identify perspective. From a design, what are the steps that the team took to come up with their innovation project? Again, the teams can have different methodologies as long as they are able to explain how they went about designing, how they went about choosing their problem, that it's all well and good. And again, how did the team really divvy up work? Was it like 2 people in the team that did all the work, or does it look like everybody is contributed equally to the solution? Those are things that, again, they have to explicitly share some of those. And if it's not clear, please make sure that you're asking those questions during your Q&A. In the create, again, how innovative is their solution? What ideas did they really consider besides the one that they did? Again, you're not looking for the product, you're looking for the process, because there are teams that can come to the judging with a very well put together prototype with no documentation or no explanation on how they came up with that particular solution, while there could be another team that has a very very basic prototype but has tons of research, and they are very clearly articulating how they chose the problem and how they went about improving it, what feedback they incorporated. So we are really judging for the process, not for the product. So please keep that in mind as you're judging, because you will see teams that might have a very impressive innovation project product, but they don't explain it well, while the other might be true where they don't have a very well put together product, but has a very great process. Again, iterate, again, how they incorporated feedback, how they improved the solution based on the feedback, and how they really leverage the experts in improving their solution. Those are some of the things that you are getting from the iterate side of things. And then communicate, how did they really communicate their solution? How is the team really working, and what are they really excited about? Things like that determine your communicate ranking. We'll actually be looking at the rubric shortly, and we can go through each one as to how that is. Jumping onto the robot design, again, the same thing. You have 5 minutes of presentation for robot design and 5 minutes of Q&A for robot design. Again, we are looking for the process and not the end robot itself. Again, and the performance of the robot is not considered in the robot design. They may have a great day on the game field, or they may have a very poor day on the game field. That does not influence how they get ranked in the robot design. The robot performance is a separate thing by itself. They already know that on the scoreboard how well they are doing. Robot design is really evaluating their design process, the choices that they made, the programming that they have really tried to learn, and the strategies that went into picking up their missions, and how they went about really coming up with a cohesive attachment that can do things. It's all about design. It's not about the performance of those design. You could have a robot design that is really, really unique, which does not work well on the field. So they will score really high on their innovation side of the design, not so much on the robot performance, which is fine. Again, we are really looking for the mechanical design, the evolution of any of the attachments, how many iterations they have done, how well they have documented, what was their game strategy, what was their mission strategy, how has their strategies evolved over the season, things like that. So you're really looking for those kind of things. Again, if there is any gaps that you see in the presentation, use the Q&A time to plug any gaps, any gray areas. That's what the Q&A is for. Again, very similar on the robot design: identify, design, create, iterate, communicate. Those are the award categories on the rubric. The questions really are what you're evaluating changes. From identify, how did the team decide which missions to work on? Some teams have a very simple mechanism to say, hey, we just looked at whatever is nearest and we did it. And there are other teams that are more sophisticated. They talk about the attachment complexity, how they can combine it with other missions, or They could be sophisticated to say, hey, we were looking at all the push mechanisms to work together, and they could have any kind of strategies as to why they picked a mission to work on. As long as they are able to articulate that clearly, they are good. They're good for that rubric. Again, what resources did they use? What did they build it off of a published design, or did they come up with their own? Again, not that published designs are considered inferior, as long as they are giving credit where it's due and are have learned from that. That is that is accepted. It is regarded good, as long as there's learning from the entire team and they are making progress. That is well and good. Same thing with the design, making sure that everybody is contributing and not there's one person who is the brain of the team who does everything and others are just there. Again, it's not necessary that everybody is doing everything, as long as they can articulate to you the contributions from every member. That is good. I know of more seasoned teams where they have some specialized role where, hey, I am the lead programmer and I'm responsible for programming, or they could be a lead builder who's responsible for all the design. As long as the other members are contributing, it is still the whole team is contributing. But if you notice in the judging that nobody else knows anything about it, there's only one member that can answer any and all questions, that would go against the team. They would definitely get dinged on some of the rubric which calls for all team members are involved. Those they will score low. Again, in the create, it does not need to be sophisticated attachment, does not need to be sophisticated robots. It is, again, how did the process, how did they go about building the robot? How did they go about building their attachments? How did they log all their runs? How did they make sure that the coding was done well? Things like that. It is not the product, it is the process. Iterate, same thing. How did they improve over the season? What were the changes? How did they document it? Did they have any kind of basis of why they were changing and how they were changing and what kind of testing they did? Those are the ones that you account for and iterate. Communicate, what did your team learn from working together? What was their learning? What did they as a team learn this season? And again, when you ask them what are they proud of, I'm sure each one is going to come up with the things that they felt dear, and you're going to listen to that and evaluate whether it was a rubric. On the rubric, you're going to evaluate whether they are a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or a 1. Again, one thing in the rubric, you are always sticking to the rubric. The rubric is fairly descriptive as to when you place them on a 2 and a 3. We'll look at that in a second, but essentially, filling the rubric is based on what was shared. So the last 8 minutes is the final sharing and feedback. Again, sometimes the teams choose to share additional information. Sometimes if you ask them like, hey, is there anything else you want to share? They might say, nope, we are ready for questions. Or some teams may say, hey, we want to talk a little bit about outreach, or we want to talk a little bit about our trip to the archaeology site. They can share anything, but make sure that you are getting to ask questions that is reflective of their core values and how they exhibited core values and how they really, the house of robot design, the house of innovation project, because you've heard enough of what in the innovation project and robot design. This one is learning how of it. And again, use this as an opportunity to cover any aspects that the team may have missed, or you need a little more clarification, you can definitely ask those in this time as well. Again, you are only scoring the team based on what the team has demonstrated or shared during the session. Again, this is a key emphasis because a lot of times you might have judged the same team at the regional level, and now you're judging them at the district level or the state level. And they did a great job when they came at the regional level and showed all kinds of information. And when they came to the district, they did not share those. You cannot use the knowledge of what you saw at the regionals to rank them at district. It is only what is demonstrated and shared during the session that determines the ranking. Sometimes you might get teams reaching back to the judge advisor saying, oh, we won the champions at the regional, and now we are marked at 2 on the, we were accomplished in the regional, and now we are marked as developing. What changed? It's basically because you did not share in that session to the satisfaction of the judges to demonstrate getting a 4. So it is what you share and what is demonstrated during the session. Okay. Writing feedback. Okay, writing feedback is an art again. Make sure that you have, once you have all the questions that you want answered, you allow time to give feedback. Again, first you want to ask the teams if there's any specific areas they want feedback on. If they say hey, we want to learn a little more about how we can improve the innovation project, that's cue to explain to them some of the nuances of what they can do in the innovation project area. But if they say, many a times the teams may say, nope, there's not anything specific, please make sure that you still address all the aspects. Make sure that you're addressing some positives and some improvement areas in the project space, some positives and improvement areas for the robot design, and something about their core values that you felt that you were impressed about, and things that they can improve on. Make sure that you spread out that to all the areas so that the team goes out thinking that they did a good job and they did accomplish, and they feel celebrated presenting to you. So the feedback is where you can really make or break their day. The more encouraging the team feels coming out of the judging session, the more encouraged they feel throughout the season. One bad comment, one demoralizing comment could really completely demoralize their season. So be very careful when you're giving feedback. It should always be with positive intent, and the way you give it should always reflect positive experience for the team. Any questions so far?
Not a question, but can I add about with feedback?
Absolutely.
Since they did away with the core values rubric, there's not really a place as you're following through rubrics where you're taking core values notes. So as a judge, you kind of have to be more aware of making sure you note things, because then on that written sheet where you give the written feedback for core values project and robot design, you need something to write that they did well in core values and something that they can improve on there. So if you're only paying attention to your rubrics, you might get to that point and be struggling to remember what should I say here, or what fits here.
That's very true. Thanks, Christine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a question as well, Centil. This is John. Last year,
John, you're not allowed to ask questions.
Oh, I'm not? Oh, okay. Last year, we were given recommendations to go ahead and add a +1 to the last item on the innovation project rubric for outreach, if a team did outreach, because there's really no good place to record outreach within the rubric. And that item, a 3 is like, I mean, how do you do better than if you look at the wording of it, it's almost impossible to do better than how the wording is said. Is that what we're doing again in Ohio this year? I do plan to do it in Kentucky, but I just wanted to see, are we doing that in Ohio again this year?
I will leave that to the Ohio head ref and Ohio lead judge advisor. I think that is going to be George.
Gonna be
Again, hey,
George.
I'm actually a replacement here,
Yes.
just filling in the shoes of George for now. But I'm sure George and Tara would be able to give a guidance on that.
Yep, John, I will make sure and discuss that with George and get back with you and make sure that everyone knows what we're gonna
Okay.
be doing this season. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Tara. And thanks, Antil, for stepping in.
Yes, very much so.
Okay, again, a little more things about the feedback. Again, we have hit a lot of this again and again, but make sure that words like, hey, we were impressed because of this, or we are really proud of your work for this, make sure that all your comments are very positive. Again, that does not mean that we are going to not give them constructive feedback. Even when you're giving constructive feedback, make sure that you use phrases like, hey, one way you could improve this would be, and what about whatever, or hey, maybe you want to consider something, or make sure that they don't take away any of your comments as criticisms, because again, you don't want them going away thinking that, oh man, I had a very poor judging. Uh, that's not the intent of what we are doing. This is all about to celebrate their success and make sure that they feel accomplished for the season. So make sure that everything is ending on a positive note and they feel like the teams feel like they have accomplishing. Again, there's enough pressure. I'll tell you, as a coach, I'm sure most teams have gone through enough rigor to understand that, hey, there's a lot on stake and there's a lot of pressure on them. We don't need to add to their pressure. We just want to be evaluating as to where they stand in terms of their progress and be as motivating and as encouraging to the teams as possible. Some do's and don'ts, again, being polite and respectful to everybody that we interact with. Again, some of the things that you do see is, especially if there are coaches present in the room, sometimes the kids will kind of turn to their coaches when you're asking questions. Sometimes it's just to get a reassuring look from the coach. Sometimes they are looking for some help. As judges, take note of when the judges are, when the coaches are helping them, or if they're just being nervous and they're just looking to their coach for some guidance. Take a call if you feel that the coaches are intervening. Maybe you want to have a polite conversation, asking the coaches to not answer any questions. But sometimes coaches may, in my experience, coaches are more interested in winning that award than the students, and they want to make sure that the judges hear every detail of what the students did. Just be mindful of that so that you're not dinging the team or giving them a pass, making sure that it's fair to everybody. Again, just ask them questions about their robot or project. You know, if sometimes they're just nervous and they may find it hard to share, ask them a specific question about a robot or project. Many times I've noticed that the teams will open up when you ask some question like, hey, what did you guys think of this attachment? How did you come up with this attachment? Then you'll hear a whole story of why they came up with that attachment versus in the presentation, they might have said, hey, here's our attachment that this. So ask some of the questions that might put them at ease and will open them up a little better to questions. Again, ask a lot of leading questions and probing questions, but sometimes it stimulates that thought process. Like, hey, what happened if you had done this? Or what did you accomplish when you did that? Or what was the hardest part? Or what challenges did you guys face? Asking those kind of probing questions may get you a more true answer than a rehearsed answer. Sometimes teams come with rehearsed presentation, and if you ask those probing questions, you will know the truly prepared teams versus the ones that are uh, trained for success. So
Can I say something, Cynthia?
sure.
Uh, I was asked a question about knowing about special needs of children and how they may look in a judging room compared to what you're anticipating they would be, how they would respond. I did provide all of our tournament hosts with a roster of the teams and any special needs that were told to me by their coaches during registration. So every tournament host has that. It's pretty specific. I made a specific column just for that. That way they can convey that information to the judge advisors and judges, and you can be aware of that before that team comes into your lane. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's see. Again, you are going to see some distracted or some fidgety kids in the judging room. Again, some of them have some genuine concerns, and you should already know, like Tara mentioned, if there are any special accommodations, you should know those ahead of time. But even if you don't, just make sure that you are getting those team members included. Maybe ask them a specific question, like a pointed question on, hey, how did you contribute to the team, or what were some of your expertise? You can definitely bring those kind of students back into the conversation. Just don't assume that, oh, that kid is uninterested, so they get dinged for not participating. Sometimes it's just some of the kids are nervous and some of them don't do well when you are putting them under stress. Just be considerate of any of those kind of situations. Okay, completing the rubrics. This is the next part of your job, because now the judging is done, the teams have left the room. Now you have 10 minutes to completing the rubric. And again, you have three sheets that you need to fill, one for the robot design, one for the innovation project, and one for the feedback. So you between the 2 or 3 people in your pod are responsible for getting all these done in 10 minutes. So no pressure there. Again, innovation project rubric. We already saw some of those. I'm actually going to jump into that. So this is the first sheet that you're filling. So this is the judging session feedback. This is the only place where you are expected to write anything. Again, there's the 2 sides, the great job and think about. Please make sure that you have at least one in each of these areas. For core values, innovation project, robot design, you should have at least one great job and one think about, and make sure that it's balanced. You don't want to have one great job and 5 think about. That's not helpful. Again, you could have more great jobs and less think about. That probably is okay, but make sure that it's more balanced. You don't want to have one team having a dozen great jobs and one think about, and another team coming in and they have one great job and 8 think about. You want to make sure that it is balanced. And sometimes I'll tell you, as a judge, sometimes it's hard to fill this rubric. It's like when the team is too polished or too rough, you're like, hey, which one is the most impactful one that I can give to this team? Or what do I really write about for this team that you're really, really impressed with? But make sure that you think of something to write about for each one, keeping it positive in all the areas. Again, and at the bottom, you see those 3 optional awards. Please use those 3 columns. Many a times I've noticed judges will not think about that when they're judging. When we come to the deliberations, you're like, oh man, I wish I had nominated them. And if you're able to catch the judge advisor at the right time and tell them it will be there, many a times, if you're stressed for time in the deliberation, when it comes to Rising All-Star and Motivate, you're trying to fly through and make sure that you're making those decisions. You don't have a lot of time to deliberate and think about, oh, did I nominate all the right teams? So make sure that as you're judging and filling the rubrics, you nominate them. That way they don't get missed out in the deliberation. Any questions on this? Okay, now coming to the innovation project. So this is the rubric on the right-hand side. And Patty, to answer your earlier question, you will notice that some of these are square boxes, while others are like a little bit of like a flower. I think it's a flower, at least I think it's a flower. So that's the difference. The square boxes are really only for innovation project. The ranking that you give, the scores that you give for the square wall boxes are applicable only for the innovation project. Anything that you mark for the flower boxes, those count for both innovation project and in this instance, the core values as well. So those are double ranking. So like when in this particular instance, like, hey, partial evidence of research from one or more sources, or clear detailed research from a variety of sources. If I mark them for clear evidence, that means I'm saying that the how is as good as the what. What they did is impressive, and how they did it is impressive. So that's where they get marked at 3. And there are no partial ranking. You cannot say, hey, they are a 2.5. It's either a 2 or a 3. And again, you are sticking to the rubric. If you think that there's partial evidence, then it is a 2. It is not a 3 or a 2 plus. It's a 2. And that's where they get ranked at. And if it's a flower, it also carries to the core values score. Again, make sure that you are sticking to the rubric and evaluating every team based on the rubric for what it is. Like, hey, do they have clear evidence of an effective project plan? Do they have a clear evidence of the development process involved all the team members? Do they have detailed explanation of the innovation solution? If they have, it is a 3. If they don't have, it's a 2. No matter which level they are really judging at, whether it's regional, district, you don't scale it based on the level. It's based on whether they demonstrated it. If they did, they get that ranking or that score. Keep in mind, there's no strong 2 or a strong 3. We will get to that because you will find sometimes that, oh man, this team is a 2, but that team was also a 2, but they were stronger than this team, but they're still a 2. We can separate them during deliberation, but not in the rubric. A rubric, they will still be a 2, and during deliberation, you could say that, hey, even though this is a 2, these are things that they did better, so you can defend that during deliberation. Similarly, on the robot design, same thing. There are some square boxes and some flower boxes. You are evaluating those based on where they are falling. Again, make sure that you're not impressed by their product, but more by the process. Like, hey, how did they go about their robot design? How did they go about choosing their mission strategy? Do they have clear evidence that everybody was involved? Do they have enough iterations that they have documented? Do they communicate well as a team? Things like that you're evaluating based on the criteria and going from there. So just as a grounding, one refers to a team that shows little or no evidence of their achievement in that criteria. Like if they did not show any they did not demonstrate or show a particular area, they are marked 1. However polished the team may look, if they did not demonstrate it, it's a 1. 2 refers to a team that shows that they have made progress towards accomplishing that criteria, but is inconsistent. Their evidence is not clear, then there are 2. If they are very clear and they show that that criteria are all met and there's clear evidence, you get a 3. 4 is really for exceeding. This is for the teams that really wow you in that particular area. Again, at the lower levels in the regional, you're not going to see a lot of force. You should not be really seeing teams that are already well polished and they're doing everything that is a wow. Make sure that, again, not saying that they should not be all fours. They could be. Maybe they are a very well accomplished team and they do deserve a 4 in all. Any 4 that you are giving as a judging part needs to be clearly defined. And if you noticed here, there is a blank column, or actually a blank cell along with each of the 4. You need to clearly justify why you think it is a 4. Maybe they had very good testing documentation. So you feel that, hey, their documentation, not only they do 10 rounds of testing, but they had a clear documentation that shows how they improved their robot and what they learned from testing. If they are able to articulate all that, maybe they are a 4. So you would mark them and write the justification of why you gave them a 4. Maybe they had a very innovative project strategy. Maybe that deserves a 4. Anytime you give a 4, you need to put why you are giving them a 4. Hopefully not everything is a 4 for a team. There should be areas that they need to improve on. Use your best judgment. On an average, I have never seen more than 1 or 2 4s per team, except at Worlds. I've seen some teams where everything is a 4, and you're like, how do you even differentiate now? That's a much later problem. I don't expect at the regional level or district level where you'll see a lot of teams that are at 4 consistently across. Any questions? Okay, how are we doing on time? Oh man, 7:38. I'm sorry, I said I will complete in 1.5. I guess I'm grossly over. Once all the judging is done, now it's time for deliberation. And again, deliberations are usually led by the judge advisor. There's usually, depending on the size of your tournament, core awards and optional awards. Core awards: champions, innovation project, robot design, core values, robot performance. That is a core award that every tournament will have. Optional awards, depending on the size. I don't know, Tara, do we have any tournament where these are not being used in Ohio?
No.
Okay, so for all our intents and purposes, optional awards are given away. So you will be judging for Breakthrough, Motivate, and Rising All-Star.
They may differentiate based on the tournament. I basically just asked each host which optional awards they wanted. So it could be any of those optional awards, but not necessarily all of them.
Okay. Again, the judging process happens from champions. You decide the champions first. And again, if you go to the event hub or to the JAA, Excel. It very clearly shows it's basically a ranking from each of the four judged criteria: the robot design, robot performance, innovation project, and core values. Based on the scores, you rank each area, and the lowest golf score kind of becomes the top ranked one for champions, and it just keeps going down from the tournament rank. And again, not saying that you cannot change that. You, as a judging group, let's say there are two teams that are having the same rank, same tournament rank, because they rank the same in all the other judge criteria. Now is where the deliberation happens to see which one deserves to be ahead of the other. And generally, the judge advisor will ask you, like, hey, what did you like about this team? What did you notice? What impressed you the most? And hopefully it's from different judging parts. And so each one kind of talks about their team that they judged. And then we have a vote to say which one do you think should be ranked higher, and whichever is the ranked higher, they get that particular award. Again, champions is overall across all four, best golf score, innovation project, the highest ranked innovation project team, robot design, the highest ranked robot design team, core values, the same thing, highest ranked core values team, robot performance, that's self-explanatory, that's visible already to all the teams. That's the one that where the points that they score on the game field determines who's the robot performance winner. Breakthrough is basically for a team that has made a significant progress in one or more areas. They may not be winning anything, but they have had a huge breakthrough in one area. Like they have made an excellent progress in in the innovation project or robot design, one of them. Motivate is basically for a team that we feel is really doing well, is there, but has not yet reached where it can win a core award. They're like at the cusp of making a breakthrough. That's for the motivate. Again, Rising All Stars in the past used to be limited to rookie teams, not anymore. So this is a award now that is for a team that we expect great things in future. So it's typically for a more younger team. You don't want to give a rising all-star to a team that has been competing for 4 seasons, and you don't want to give them a rising all-star when they are in their 8th grade competing for the final season. But it's intended for like a 5th grade team or a 4th grade team that has just started, and we see great potential. We give that to that. Any questions on any of these awards?
Cynthia, the only other optional award that we have is the engineering excellence. So some tournaments have chosen to also do that one.
Okay, so engineering excellence is basically champions 4. Actually, I shouldn't say champions 4. It's basically the highest ranked team that did not win an award.
A
So
core
if they
award,
did
right?
not, yeah, any core award or any optional award even.
No, you decided
No.
excellence before the other optional awards.
Right.
Sorry, John, what was the?
Oh, just like Christine said, the Excellence Award is the first optional award that you would give, and it's the highest champions number that is not one of the
core award.
4 core awards, because robot performance doesn't
Yep.
matter in there. So it
That
would
is
be like
correct,
that
yes.
5th one, if you will, if you're doing that. And after that, then you can decide the Breakthrough, Motivate, Rising
That is
All-Star,
correct.
whatever is
Yes,
appropriate.
yeah, you're exactly right. So you do the champions, innovation project, robot design, and core values. Then you decide the engineering excellence award before moving on to any other optional award, breakthrough, motivate, or all-star.
Tara, I had a quick question on, you said any tournament can give out all the optional awards. Are there any limits on like overall number of teams competing versus number of awards given? I'd hate to see a situation where you give out 11 awards and there's 12 teams there kind of thing.
No, and there was also an option for a judge's award. So I think some people had done that in the past. So something that the judges think that they excelled at that wasn't mentioned in the other options. I think with the numbers and the different uh, questions I asked the host, I think everybody with what their choices were and their tournament sizes, I think there's enough awards to either, like if it's a very small tournament, there should be enough that everybody gets something.
Okay.
Tara, I thought that the first guidelines were like about 30 to 40% should get
That's
awards,
for
not.
advancement,
Mm,
30%.
I think it's actually awards too, but I'll look that up.
Based on what I received from the prior person, it definitely wasn't 30%.
Yeah, I don't think awards cater to this
It's not
person.
30%.
I think there's a lot more
Advancement,
awards.
the global standard is 30%. And then I can, you can advance more based on tournament size. But if I look based at the information I have from past seasons on awards that were given out based on tournament size, there's definitely not across the board percentage that's the same for each tournament.
Okay.
I can look into it if you want more information, and I can ask, my person at first headquarters, just if you want a definite, but as far as I know, and the training that I've had done since I started in this position, the only percentage is used for advancements.
And this is Patty. That is a question I had. So are we sticking to a 30% and do we round up or round down?
I have given each tournament host their exact number of advancements, so they're aware of that already.
Oh, okay. So if I'm the JA, I need to get that from the tournament
They
director.
have it. They have all been given their 30% advancement, and if they have any extra ones, depending on the tournament size, correct.
Okay.
So they will have that information for you. If you ask them, it's on their roster that I supplied to them, and every tournament host has their roster already.
Good. Any other questions? Okay,
Oh,
we're coming to a wrap.
Cynthia,
Yep.
may I ask a quick question? This is
Absolutely.
Dennis Guriev. So last season, there was a provision for if team is showing they did a outreach to
They asked
apply
that
to
earlier.
certain rubric. Oh, okay, okay.
That's what John and Christine were talking about, right? That I'm going to talk to
Okay.
George about to see if we're going to give that additional point. Correct?
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I will look into
Thank
it
you.
and make sure that you know before your tournament.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I've signed up for Lakota, my first to judge.
Okay.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
So guys, we're really at the wrap up. Again, at the end of the deliberation, again, as a judge owner, a judge advisor, you're asking the judges to come up with team award scripts. Again, it's basically a 3 to 4 line sentence. And then we create the judge advisor will create the awards list and send it to the event director. Again, depending on the tournament, some of them use paper forms, some of them just load it into Event Hub. I don't know, Tara, if there's any directive on which one to use this season, but we have used both and both seem to work fine. As long as the MCs have the right details when they do the award ceremony, they can just plug those in. And again, also preparing the feedback forms. If you're giving them paper feedback forms, making sure that all the teams are getting their paper feedback forms. If you're using the Event Hub, it is on the system and you can publish it in the Event Hub and it's available to all the teams after the tournament. Talk to your event director as to what is the system that they would like to use. And both the systems work fine. I've used both of them and both seem to work pretty well. Again, if you are collecting any notes or anything during the tournament day, make sure it is all destroyed and shredded appropriately. As judges, we are not taking any of the documents with us outside the deliberation room. Anything that we do in the deliberation room stays in the deliberation room. Please do not go back to any of the teams that you may or may not know and say, hey, you were this close to winning an award, but somebody else took it. You don't want those conversations leaving the deliberations room. Hey, here's the Las Vegas rule. Anything that we do in the deliberation room stays in the deliberation room, and all communication, all the documentation gets shredded in the deliberation room. As judges, you did it, guys. Once you write the award scripts, you're done for the day. You can actually leave, or you could choose to stay back for the award ceremony. And generally, judges get to hand out awards. So if that is your thing, stick around for the award ceremony. You will be called onto the stage to hand out some awards. And that's pretty much the end of the day. If you stick around longer than that, they might ask you to help clean up and collect all the papers and shred stuff and put back benches and chairs. But hey, that's once you write this award scripts, you guys are free to do whatever you want. You are really done for the day. And again, from an award scripts perspective, it's essentially like a 3 to 4 sentence format. Again, the first sentence gives a subtle hint, which might apply to many teams. The second hint is the team may know that they are the ones, but they may not be very clear. Others are still guessing. Third sentence really gives a big hint. The team probably knows at that time. And then the last sentence is basically just announcing what it is. It's not required that you follow the same convention, but that's what I have seen used in previous tournaments. Maybe you guys can come up with something unique and new, and maybe we'll adapt that in future. But for now, I'll tell you, I'm very bad at writing scripts. I've always relied on like ChatGPT or one of the AI tools to help me come up with some puns and things like that, and seems to work. So this is really to have fun. So you guys can use your creative juices to come up with that. That's essentially it, guys. At that end of that, you're done. And again, as judge advisor, it is highly recommended to send out a survey to get feedback from the teams, from the volunteers to see what went well, what did not go well, so that you can improve for the next season.
This is Patty. I have a couple questions for the judge advisor stuff. So, is there a copy of the JAA form I can look at? Last time I did this, I think I used Judging Light.
Yeah, so if you are signing up for the training, all that is in the same place.
So that's not this training, that's a different training.
No, again, so what I am doing is an unofficial training, right? You should really be doing the First Inspires role-specific training, which is there on firstinspires.org. So you should be, so if I go back.
It'll be on your dashboard, Patty.
Yeah.
When you log in. I did put the link that Cynthia talked about. I put the link in the chat. And
So
it'll show you what training you have to do if you sign up.
Oh, so this training doesn't count for my JA training. I have to do that too?
Yes, it
You
does
have to
not
do what
count.
first requires. Yeah.
Oh, that would
This
have
is just for Ohio.
that would have been good to know 2 hours ago. All right. Number one. Number two. So where do I get the JAA form? Because you're saying about entering the core values, like that gear shape thing on the JAA form, and I are on that Excel spreadsheet, and I haven't worked with that before.
So let me stop sharing here for a second, and I can bring out the JA form, the Excel version.
And then do we still distribute the rubrics and the feedback to the teams at the tournament, or is that to the tournament director?
We can put it into an envelope, and usually it's put out near the some entrance or exit or something, so that teams can pick it up on the way
But
out.
it's the rubric and the feedback forms, right?
It is, yes, those 3 sheets, the project innovation project feedback, the robot design rubric, and the team feedback form.
Okay.
Let me share this in Excel. Okay, I'm just sharing the Aurora one that the JAA. Essentially, this is the JAA form that you are really using. Again, if you see, once you put in all the scores, so you will be putting all the scores. Of course, I was playing, so I'll leave it for now. So essentially, you're putting this rubric scores from, this is for innovation project. All the scores that you collected from the form, you are entering it here, and that gives you the innovation project rank. Similarly, you'll be doing it for the robot design, and you'll be doing it for the core values.
So
Once you have,
this is what I was concerned about. So these in light pink, these are the core values from
so those are coming from the same form.
M, N, and O. Are they coming from the project form?
Yes. Project and robot design. Yeah.
So how do I know which form these come from?
So if I go back to the form, let's see. Okay, let's take this. Are you able to see my screen?
I see the
Let's go screen share. Okay. Hopefully you're able to see this now.
yes.
So whatever you put in these, like this one, the second row,
Yeah.
that goes as a value for this.
Yeah. Okay. But in which column? How do I know what translates to which column?
So this is gracious professionalism 1, 2, and 3, which really,
Where did that?
I believe, Centil, that you have columns hidden. If you look at your plus signs up there. There you go. So
if
the
you
IP
see, I had
means it's
put
from
3,
the
3, 3.
innovation project. Go on. Go ahead, Centil.
Yeah, so the discovery from innovation project. So this value, whatever I put in this particular field, let's see. In this, whatever value I put in this field gets carried over to this as well.
Oh, so I don't have to enter it. It's just carried over.
It just carries over. That's why those were hidden, because we don't want anybody to, it's a lookup, so we don't want something to be messed up. That's why
Okay.
it's hidden.
All right. That's fine. That's
All
fine.
you're doing inputs is for the innovation project and robot design, and the core values, it just pops in. So if I actually go here and let's say I change this to 2, 2, and 2, now if I go to this innovation project, it has changed it to 13. Now if I go and make this back as 3, 3, and 3, you will see that that went up to 15.
Yep. Okay, great. All right. Now I see it.
And as I understand, the pink ones, they will be populated from the game scores.
Those
right?
3 are coming from the game, from
Yes.
the robot game. That should be coming from the refs. And again, that by default starts as a 3. And if they notice anything that pushes you up or down, they will send it out to you.
Okay, great. Thank you, friend. I appreciate that. That those come from the robot game. So these 3 will come from project and robot design.
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh no, these 2, and then the last one's the rank. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm taking everybody's time. I just haven't seen this before.
No, again, hey, I will tell you, this is a lot more streamlined than what it has been in the past. And Event Hub has the same thing. So if you don't want to use the Excel, you could use the Event Hub and plug in the same thing, and it works.
Is the Excel on the Event Hub, or where can I get the Excel? Because I'm much more comfortable with Excel.
Tara has already sent it out to all the tournament directors. So your tournament director should already have this form with them. So the tournament director should be sharing it with you.
It's
If
also
not, you can
available.
reach out to Tara, and I'm sure she'll be more than happy to send it to you.
The Excel fellow is also available online on the same page where all the other FLL judging resources are. You can download it
Oh,
from there.
okay, great. Thank you,
It's on
ma'am.
the first page. I can put the link in the chat if you need me to.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. I can look online.
And they have
Thanks.
a new update if you're using any of the Excels that are from 2019 or earlier. There's a new update also on the volunteer page where you can, that information is provided for you also.
Great. Great. I appreciate this. I didn't think if I missed a year, I would miss a lot, but apparently I did.
Okay, any other questions? Hey, we are 1 minute past 8, but I'm more than happy to hang around if there's any other questions. But if not, I think we are done for the day. Again, thank you so much for all your time and attention.
Thank
Yes.
you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Sentho. I truly appreciate you doing this for our judges and judge advisors.
You're welcome.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.